What's up, YouTube? Trying something new out here. If the other kind of like talking about life lessons, just processing my philosophical world views is called shooting the shit with Big Steve. I'm going to call these nerding out with Big Steve. And this week I want to talk about the Netflix Castlevania anime series. As far as I'm aware, there are two. There's a newer one that came out in 2025. That's not the one I'm talking about. I think this one came out close to 2020. That's not what I'm doing. I don't get views. I'm not going to look up the names and the dates and all that stuff. But let's just say it came out around 2020. So yeah, just do you ever have that experience when you find a show that just kind of like pulls your heartstrings a little bit and you ride the wave and you just watch it all really fast? That was Castlevania. I was watching Spider-Man. What's it called? The Noir Spider-Man Noir or whatever it is with Nicolas Cage, the live action one. That was pretty good, but for whatever reason, it didn't have the staying power with me, or it didn't grip me. Its story wasn't compelling enough, and I ended up starting to watch Castlevania in the period of watching Spider-Man Noir, and it just completely captivated me. And I think it means something if I watch 4 seasons in the span of 2 weeks versus 5 episodes in the span of a month. You know, like that means a lot. So without further ado, let's get into talking about the show. So I had first encountered Castlevania, I think shortly after it came out back in 2018, 2019 or something like that. And honestly, I was in a really fucked up headspace, and at the time, gore and violence was really kind of tweaking my head, and it was really tweaking my head and kind of putting me in a really weird spot with intrusive thoughts and stuff. So the first scene, mild spoilers, turn this shit off if you don't want any mild spoilers, has Dracula's wife burning at the stake. And revisiting it now, it wasn't as graphic as I remembered it. I thought I remembered seeing her skin fall off and her turn into a skeleton and then decomposing and all that. It wasn't that bad. But even still, at the time, I don't know that was really ballsy for a show, I think, to just be burning a scientist accused to be a witch at the stake. That really fucked with my head. And I couldn't watch it. And so it's probably been like 5-6 years, and I don't know what made me. I just watched the Netflix Devil May Cry, and I really liked that. That was really good. And then I turned this on, and this was 5 times better. And honestly, I've heard of Castlevania throughout the years. I remember seeing like all the old NES Castlevanias on G4 back in the early thousands. My first actual experience with Castlevania was getting Symphony of the Night on the original Xbox 360. What's it called? Virtual marketplace or whatever, and that was really cool. And as far as I'm aware, the Dracula's Castle in this show is the version from Symphony of the Night, and Alucard is in it, and I think Trevor Belmont and Cypher are the 3 main protagonists. And I like that the show is what's it called? Not an anthology, it's another A word. It's a not accompaniment. I don't have the word right now. It'll come back to me and I'll say it. But it's a cast of characters, not just one main character. And I love how it tells different stories, and maybe the characters are characters from the game, but I don't know. There's those 2 Beastmasters. I don't remember their names, but the one with like the squire cut and then the bold African American guy. It was really cool to see. I felt like they did something great with every single character's plot and character development. And I felt like they told a story that felt kind of in the long run like a chess game. And I think where all the characters end up and how all the characters' stories revolved, or how all the characters' stories concluded and resolved, was a really great resolution, and really made me feel good inside. Yeah, it should make me feel good inside, right? But So you have, and I'm just going completely spoilers on you, but at the end of the show, some crazy necromancer death guy is trying to bring Dracula back and into the rebus, I think they call it. It's like a vessel that's like a man and a woman's body tied together. He tries to bring him and his wife back into one body. It fails, but then you find out that Dracula is free to walk the earth again with his wife. But it's like where Dracula was before the show started, where like humans killed his wife and then he went batshit crazy and wanted to kill all of humans. Now it's like kind of like that is resolved. He's not coming back to like prove anything. He's not coming back to seek vengeance. He's just walking the earth with his wife. And none of the main characters, Trevor Belmont doesn't know about it, Alucard doesn't know about it, nor does Cypher. And you leave Cypher and all of them in the ground of Dracula's old castle and the Belmont Keep, which I thought was really great. They're repopulating, making a town, I think, called Belmont. And yeah, it's just really, really touching. And I think I love how they make each of the three main baddie characters equally competent, like really competent. There's not like a journey to make them better. They do get better, like as fighters throughout the course of the show, but they're already there, which I thought was great. There was no like training arc. There was no getting them from point A to point B. They just were kind of gifted legendary heroes from the beginning. And I also love the way that Cypher, the female lead, was equally strong and lethal in her own ways. And I loved how they all fought for each other, and you could see the love they had for each other in their pursuit, in their defense of one another. And so for those of you who haven't seen the show, the first season was like 1 or 2 episodes. I think it just sets up the whole thing. But the first and the second season tell the story of Dracula's demise and how Alucard, Belmont, and Cypher all band together. But then they disperse, they go their separate ways, they live life, and they have their own B plots they see out, and then all the events kind of bring them back together when somebody's trying to resurrect Dracula. And it's this weird guy, I don't remember his name, this weird magician character, and I guess he's from the games, but I didn't know him. He went into this world in between worlds, I think it's called the Infinite Corridor, to find his love. And this is why I really like the plots of each character, because the wizard had a plot. I felt like he was a good guy, but he was corrupted on his path to find his love. And he was manipulated by death, because for whatever reasons, the humans are the Beastmasters. The humans are the ones that can reach into hell. For whatever reason, monsters and vampires can't do that. So monsters almost need to use humans to do their bidding, to operate their dark magic to bring about their goals, if that makes sense. And so the wizard guy, because his lust to find and rekindle his love with his lost lover is so deep, he is corrupted, and he pretty much tries to sacrifice a whole village, corrupt Dracula's castle, bring Dracula back. And whereas Dracula's right-hand human Beastmasters start the show with a vehement hatred for humanity because they were a minority and were disparaged and only talked down to as humans. So whenever they break from Dracula's ruling, they go on their own character path, where you think their goal starts out, let's get back to saving Dracula. I want to get revenge because the other Beastmaster, Isaac was his name, fucked me over and fucked Dracula over. But then through their travels throughout the world, they're forced to deal with their hatred for humanity. And yeah, they act out, they kill humans, specifically the African-American guy. I don't remember his name right now. But then throughout the process of wreaking bloodshed, he finds that he's a Beastmaster. He brings characters back, or he brings souls back from hell. And he finds that, he has this one talk with one of his beasts, and he's like, who am I? Like, yes, I resurrect you as tools of destruction, but how come I can't resurrect you to be a tool of creation? And so, like, he kind of thinks it's like, also, as my role as a Beastmaster, who's to say that my role has to be to enact war? And so, like, this character who is supposed to enact and build Dracula's army and cause destruction and genocide decides to go against his primary motive. And I love that, how you see this guy, this wizard who was a good character, be corrupted, and then this character who was a bad, most, I think, vehemently evil character, not the most evil, but like one of the more sadistic and malicious characters in the show, almost finds this like Christ-like enlightenment. I thought that was really great. So anyway, the show, that's why I feel like the show is like a chessboard. Like all, and I'm speaking for the show as a whole. It feels like a chessboard. It has its pieces, and I think each member of the main cast are like the knights, the rooks, the kings, the queens, and they utilize them the whole show. Other supporting characters come in, they may be the pawns of the show. They may be for a short series, or for a short arc, you know? But it seems like the show was intent on telling the story for the primary royal court of the show, so to speak, if we're referring to it in like chess terms. And that was what I think made the show so good for me. There was intrigue, there was deception, there was manipulation, there was love, romance, strife, betrayal, you know, and not only that, it took you through the world. You didn't just stay in Dracula's castle. And every month or every season, it wasn't just Dracula coming back. Dracula was brought back at the very end, but that's it. And I thought that how they were able to tell stories with different bad guys, and how they honestly the bad guys in the show's goal was to bring Dracula back. I like that as an antagonist rather than Dracula just continuing to show up as an antagonist. Because even in the second season, whenever they killed him, he wanted to kill humanity, but like his disposition whenever the season started, or whenever throughout the course of the second season, was very much, I don't have a thirst for this anymore. I don't have a desire. I don't have a passion to enact vengeance anymore. I just want humans gone. He almost had like a resigned nature, like he was ready to rest and he was ready to die. And I think at the very end of the second season, whenever Belmont and Alucard kill him, and Cypher kill him, he lost partly because he didn't have a thirst for life, and he knew that in his sacrifice of himself, he was giving his son life. He was starting the next generation and resetting the balance, so to speak. And I don't even know how much his conviction to kill the human race was really true. Not true, but how much he was committed to it. I think he just was ready to rest. And I think you see in the subsequent seasons how he's resting with his wife. And again, the show ends with him and his wife walking away together. So he got a beautiful, peaceful closure to his arc that I think the story was betraying that he needed. Started with him getting fucked over by humanity, his wife being murdered at the stake, him going batshit crazy, he completely flies off the deep end, to him being able to be, I think, himself, just a calm, smart, intelligent dude that just wants to be left alone with his loved ones. So yeah, it was a really good show. I really, really loved it, and I highly advise you watch it, but I would even go a step further to say I highly advise you binge watch it very quickly, because it is probably one of the best shows I've seen on TV in a long time. Not that my word means anything, but it means something to me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.